Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here on Wave Now. I'm Myra Ansari. We are going to a press conference that's happening right now at Norton Children's Hospital. The governor, alongside childhood cancer patients, survivors, advocates, healthcare professionals, and bereaved families, they're coming together. They're going to be providing remarks and proclaimed September 2024 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Let's listen in.
Governor, who not only talks about caring, but walks the walk about caring. I could tell you stories from COVID that you wouldn't believe. I could tell you days when I would call Governor Beshear and ask for things, and his answer to me was always, "We'll get you what you need. We'll do everything that we can." Talk about a friend. He is a friend of the Commonwealth of Kentucky for sure. He is a friend of Norton Healthcare for sure. He is a friend of everyone in this state that suffers the disease that cancer and others put upon us. He has a heart for care, but he also has a willingness to step up. And you know what else? The rest of the country is beginning to see what we have, but we're going to hang on to you, Governor. Please join me in welcoming Governor of our great Commonwealth, Andy Beshear. Thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you all. Good afternoon, everyone. It is great to be in Louisville at Norton Children's Hospital, celebrating some of the toughest kids that this world has ever seen. Today, we recognize Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, which truly shines a light on the bravery of these children who shouldn't have to go through what they are, but hopefully makes all of us, whether our families are dealing with this or not, recognize this is an area where we can and we must do better so that no parent ever has to hear that line, "Your child has cancer," ever again. I'm proud to say we've honored this month every year since I became governor, and I can tell you I'm going to be governor the next 3.5 years, so we will continue to do it during that period. I want to thank Russ for welcoming us, but let me tell you, everything kind he said, I could say back to him and back to this hospital system. Through the pandemic and other things we've dealt with, we have almost walked through the gates of hell and back again. I've called asking for things that would have been crazy in other times. And this hospital system and all of its workers have stepped up, have shown bravery, have been there for us in difficult times, and for that we're really grateful. Trey's loving this. I look at what Norton Children's does across this city and ultimately for this Commonwealth, but I think about what the Norton healthcare system is doing all across this city. They're about to open the first hospital in West Louisville in over 150 years. That is special. All Kentuckians deserve world-class health care close to home. The idea that no one should ever have to drive 2 hours or take 2 buses to get the services they need, and no family should ever be told that the best thing they can do to help their children is to move. Our job is to ensure that health care is accessible to every single Kentucky family where they live so that they can get the very best. And we couldn't do any of this without our amazing healthcare heroes. I just got to see some at the oncology clinic here today where they are saving children's lives every single day. They are truly the best of Team Kentucky. Yeah. And I know it might be nice hearing that from your governor, and I believe it, but hearing that from these families, some of which have had good outcomes, some of which have had to deal with some very difficult news. But with each and every one of them, I see how grateful they are, how caring the staff here and at all of our other facilities are. You know, it takes a special person to do this work, and I'm grateful we have so many special people in Louisville and across Kentucky. I got a chance in the clinic to meet 2 kids going through this, really at 2 very different sides of the spectrum. The first was a 14-year-old, freshman in high school, should be able to be in school with his friends, but battling this, but also seeing his approach to it, his almost enthusiasm about how he's going to take this on and come out the other side. He's going to have to go through some more treatments, probably going to lose his hair again, but let me tell you, he has great hair. I told him that. I can't grow it like that anymore. And we talked about how we knew that he was going to make it through. And then I met a baby having to deal with this and what that must feel like as a parent. I've welcomed two into this world to right at the beginning, having to deal with such a challenge when you're even just trying to find your way. But there are so many folks that are here and so many folks that are raising money and doing other things for the cause each and every day that ought to give us hope. I want to recognize the Raise Red crew at the University of Louisville for their work. Today, these college students and those that band with them have raised over $5 million for Norton's Children's Cancer Institute, as well as U of L School of Medicine's Division of Pediatric Hematology and Oncology. We all need to join this fight against childhood cancer because right now it is the #1 cause of death by disease in our American and in our Kentucky children. 1 in 285 children and teens in the United States will have to hear that diagnosis, wonder why them, and then go through the hard work of fighting back. Way too many of our kids are having to deal with that trauma. As a dad of 2 kids, I love more than anything. I will not simply stand by and accept those statistics. It should not be a fact of life, and it does not have to be one. That's why in Kentucky, our aim is to be a national leader in the fight against this illness by raising awareness and bringing our dollars to fund the research. In 2015, the Kentucky Pediatric Cancer Research Trust Fund was established through legislation I know, because my dad got to sign it into law. We were one of the first states in the entire country to designate any state funding for childhood cancer research, and on that day, a governor who beat cancer, yes, as an adult. But I still remember that day being 17 years old when my dad told me he was going in for surgery. I didn't even know he'd been diagnosed. And either he was going to be okay or I was going to grow up without him. I know what the care of incredible people can do, and I also know how research has helped improve outcomes and improve outcomes and improve outcomes since then. In 2021, as governor, I was proud to team with legislators to secure another $2.5 million for the trust fund. But we didn't stop there, because in the 2022 budget, we did even more, allocating $6.25 million in each fiscal year. But it didn't stop there. This year, I worked with our General Assembly to secure a record $14 million in state funding for the trust fund. This is one of the largest budget allocations ever by any state in the country. I believe it is #2 that's ever been seen in the history of the United States through one of these budgets. In the past, maybe we haven't always thought of Kentucky being a leader on scientific research and healthcare in this area, but people are seeing us that way now. They're not looking at the same Kentucky anymore, because in our new Kentucky home, one where we're seeing more opportunity, more economic development, more national attention, we can also make sure that we are a leader in our values, how we take care of each and every Kentuckian, and how we use some of this new prosperity that's coming to our state to lift up especially those children that are fighting this disease. As we see more state revenues coming in, as we see a bigger rainy day fund, as we see upgrades from the different bond rating agencies, we can take some of that prosperity and pay it back to the kids in this room or to the legacy of the kids that came before and can't be with us. Our kids just deserve that and so much more. They all deserve a world without cancer. Right before I proposed the record funding allocation to our state legislature, I got to meet Dawson Barr, who just graduated from Spencer County High School. He had been fighting brain cancer and its side effects for almost his entire life. I could tell right away that Dawson isn't focused on the pain and the challenges he faced. He was in there fighting for other kids. He came to Frankfort to pay it forward for kids like him, encouraging state leaders to dedicate more money to pediatric cancer research. He had to go through another brain surgery this summer, but I'm thrilled to say he got through it safely. And one of the reasons he can't be with us today is he's settling into his first year as a freshman at the University of Kentucky. Pretty exciting for Dawson. Because of research, because of learning how to do this job better and better, Dawson got the second or the third chance that every child with cancer deserves. His story reminds us that healthcare is a basic human right, no matter how difficult, no matter how expensive. It is a right of these children to get the very best in care. We haven't just talked that talk, we're trying to walk that walk. During my first week as governor, I protected coverage for about 100,000 Kentuckians that were at risk from a waiver that the previous governor had tried to submit. Then I made good on my promise to relaunch Connect to help those out there that need a little extra help to get the coverage they need to secure it. I went to court to protect the Affordable Care Act, which, as you all know, protects pre-existing conditions that before people could have lost their coverage when they needed it the most. Now, families that hear this diagnosis have that coverage and know they're going to have it as they push through that challenge. We fully funded Medicaid and Medicaid expansion. Medicaid expansion covers almost 660,000 children. Without it, we could not provide the care they need, whether they're going through cancer or anything else. These are children of God, irreplaceable to their families and to their communities. We've also brought survivors and bereaved families together every year since 2021 to recognize my friend David Turner Jr. and to declare David Turner Jr. Ice Cream Day in the Commonwealth. I know I've told this story a lot, but getting to meet David Jr.'s parents, Liz, who's here today, you're a warrior. Thanks for what you do. Liz came in to advocate for more funding, and she holds another record when it comes to my term as governor. That is the only meeting that somebody has come in asking for funding that I said yes in the meeting. So she is not only strong and brave, she is probably now the most effective lobbyist in Frankfort, Kentucky. But I still remember I got to know David Turner. What a special light. And continues to be. I remember the first time that he came into my office, we pulled him up behind the desk to be governor, and we asked him what he was going to do, and he said, "I'm going to declare National Ice Cream Day." And I said, "I don't know if you can do that as governor, but we'll do our best." You know what? A couple months ago, we came really, really close to that. But what I know is for the next 3.5 years, we're going to have David Turner Jr. Ice Cream Day in the Commonwealth each and every year. Liz serves as president of the trust fund now for the second year in a row. She is out there doing the work. She is a warrior for all of our families here, and we are better off as a Commonwealth for her work. And as you all know, she's pushed through the worst tragedy any parent could ever imagine, yet she's still here today, even with everything it can trigger, even seeing all the places that I saw today that David was. But I also got to see her thank all the providers that were there for them each and every day. You see what a special relationship that this is between our families and these providers. No parent should ever have to hear that there are no options, no treatment options for their child. No parent should ever have to hear there's no cure for what their child has. And no family should ever have to choose between paying for medicine and putting food on the table. We, through this trust fund, can do our best moving forward to make sure that no parent ever will. We can make sure kids who survive cancer don't also have to deal with painful treatments and long-term side effects. That's why we are all here today. In just a few minutes, I'm going to sign the proclamation for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month with so many of you amazing warriors standing beside me. I can't put myself in your shoes exactly, but I know the difficulty of hearing with your family or your extended family really difficult news. And for that, I promise I will continue to try to put myself in your shoes with each of these decisions we make to do better and better and better. I think we're all here because we believe that there can be a world without cancer and without pediatric cancer. You look at not just our history, but you even look at the last several decades and you see in different areas amazing progress being made. Our job is to make sure it's made in this area. And Russ has assured me that when we eliminate pediatric cancer, there's still plenty of work for everyone who works on the floor. And I know that they will be the very first people that would look for that next assignment because we've known that we have met our mission, that we've met our faith and values. You know, to me, one of the most important stories in the Bible is Jesus saying, "Let the children come to me and do not deter them." And I believe that story is about so much more. It's about everything out there that afflicts our children and our job as responsible adults, whether we have kids or not, to do better for them. I wouldn't be in this job but for the birth of my two children and looking at them and saying they deserve a better world. And so do all our children, especially these children. So today we will recommit to doing more, to doing better, and to helping out each and every one of these families. God bless.
I am not a policymaker at all, but I think a great idea would be to remove term limits for the governor of Kentucky. Can I get a round of applause? I don't know if we can ever have someone who brings the passion, the willingness, and the resources that our governor does. Thank you so much for being here with us. And I do know that you have a strong advocate in Norton Healthcare's Chief Financial Officer, Chief Administrative Officer around National Ice Cream Day. Adam Kemp is the connoisseur of ice cream for all of Norton Healthcare. So we're in with ice cream. We're in a wonderful building today. I remind people all the time that buildings are great and they're necessary. Equipment is great and it's necessary. But what makes this place special is the people who are called. And it is a calling. You don't just say, "I think I'll have this job." You feel called to do this job. When we were searching for our chief of Norton Children's Cancer Institute, I was asked a lot of questions about what would you like to see? And the first thing I said is, I want somebody who feels called. I want somebody who looks at this as a avocation. I want someone who wants to make every day a bad day for cancer. I want someone who wants that number to be 0. I want someone who removes the need for that 7th floor oncology clinic. And we will find places for people, trust me. We were blessed because we found that person. He's here with us today. I'd like to introduce Dr. Michael Ferguson, the chief of Norton Children's Cancer Institute. He had the wisdom to understand that being in Indianapolis was not the better option. He said, "I like this governor, I like this mission," and we were able to convince him that this is where he could do all the things that he wanted to do. He's established himself as one of the top pediatric cancer physicians in the country. We are thrilled to have him with us. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Michael Ferguson.
Thank you, Russ. That's a little hard to follow Governor Beshear's excellent speech there and Russ's enthusiasm for everything, but I'm really excited to be here. So on behalf of the Norton Children's Cancer Institute, we were very honored to welcome Governor Beshear and the members of the Kentucky Pediatric Cancer Research Trust Fund. We appreciate your support as we kick off this Childhood Cancer Awareness Month here at Norton Children's. Though we've made amazing progress, as you've heard from Governor Beshear and you've heard from Russ, towards cures, cancer again remains the #1 cause of death for children in the United States. Think about that again. The #1 cause of death, more than any heart disease, more than any infections, more than any respiratory diseases. As Russ said, we see hundreds of new pediatric cancer diagnoses in the state of Kentucky each year. And I'm new to the Commonwealth, so I'm learning all of this. But we have unfortunately experienced a very high number of brain tumor diagnoses, like Liz has fought through with her child. This is among the highest in the country. And these statistics are troubling. But like Governor Beshear said, there's hope. And we are working to change that trend here at Norton Children's. I was drawn here from Indiana, the great state of Indiana, to this Commonwealth, this wonderful place, to lead Norton Children's Cancer Institute because of the amazing physicians that we have here today, the amazing nurses, the amazing staff. Everyone that's sitting in this hospital today are just wonderful people, and they're dedicated, very dedicated to making your child well. They provide exceptional care with children, for children with cancer, and they're just there. Their hearts are in the right place, and it's just an amazing environment to be in. So I'm very honored to be here. This team also conducts some of the most amazing research and psychosocial interventions that you can see. They're around brain tumors, leukemia, sarcomas, and more. And even though this work is very challenging, it's worth every extra moment a child gets to spend with their family. Every bell ringing to celebrate the end of chemo treatment. Every life saved. Think about that again. Every life saved. This is what we all are here trying to do today. Thanks to the diligence of Governor Beshear and others in the state and the Commonwealth, the state has been deeply committed to growing a robust pediatric cancer research network. They've committed particularly to Norton Children's and the University of Louisville School of Medicine, over $19 million over those terms that Governor Beshear was talking about. And the ultimate goal is finding cures, bringing new trials, bringing new research, and so that we find new cures, so that nobody has to say, oh my gosh, my child has cancer, what am I gonna do now? Having this type of support that is focused on these childhood cancers is critical for us to continue to do our work and make groundbreaking discoveries. And we can't do that without everybody in this room pitching in, doing the work together, and we're gonna make those groundbreaking discoveries. I'm very excited again to be here today, and I thank everyone for coming today. I thank Governor Beshear for his commitment to the Kentucky children and their families as we work to fight this devastating disease. Thank you for everyone being here. Thank you for fighting, and thank you for just being there for the families and for the children that hear those words, your child has cancer. We're gonna get to zero. Like Russ said, we're gonna get to zero. And with all this work that the state is doing, we're gonna get to zero with all the great research that we're doing. So thank you all, and God bless.
This work is difficult. Caregivers in this room can tell you it's difficult, but there's a love for it. We encourage caregivers and everyone at Norton Healthcare to every day get in touch with their why. Why do we do this? Today, we've got a great why. Please join me in welcoming Elena Kinney. Elena, come on up. Elena was diagnosed with neuroblastoma in 2019. She spent 4 years undergoing chemotherapy, 2 bone marrow transplants, and stem cell therapy at Norton Children's Hospital. Today, Elena is, say it, Elena, cancer-free. She's spending her 8th grade year playing sports and getting ready for high school. That is wonderful. What sport do you play?
Volleyball and softball.
Volleyball and softball. Look for her on ESPN. She has overcome odds, and she will always overcome those odds. She is why her story and so many others that we're able to come together on days like this and celebrate that journey to zero. So at this point, Governor, if you'd come up, Elena's going to stand next to you, and we'd like to broadly invite anybody who is with us today who is finished their battle against cancer and survived that, or is in the midst of that, to join us with the governor. He has a lot of pens up there.
We're going to look forward to the picture. All right, congratulations.
So we also want to make sure our bereaved families are included. So if you brought a photo of your loved one, and if you'd like to come up for a photo, please come up at this time. I see a few of you hanging out in the back. Thank you.
Let's give them a round of applause again. What bravery. Thank you for being here today. It is our hope that someday soon we're here conquering another challenge. Thank you again for being here.